of ideas. And the same thing for the sheriff. I don't know if they're here yet, but okay, thank you. You weren't in uniform. I'm sorry, Joe. Oh, your phone, what do you call it?
It's on mute.
Yeah, mute.
I didn't wear the uniform. I probably should have make myself more identifiable, but cognito, I guess.
No. No, I don't think we've even met yet, though. I'm a neighbor, a former board member, and just kind of like to get my hands just stirring the pot a little bit here and there, and a very active member with the VFW and the auxiliaries. So I'll talk when I do a little bit when they actually start the meeting, but because the guys are always welcome to come up on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, which are pretty much Sundays when we have a football game. The guys can come in and have something to eat. And, Chief knows that too. The firemen come up all the time. So, and there's Miss Devin. So
we are live on Facebook right now. We're streaming to the world. So heads up, I am standing in for Jeremy tonight. So I'll do my darndest to try and keep the broadcast going. And let me know if anybody sees any problems on Facebook. I'll try to monitor comments. If anybody could help me monitor comments on Facebook, that would be really helpful.
Okay. I don't know how. So are we officially started then yet, Devin? Who's our
facilitator tonight? Is it Jeannie or Joey?
I don't know. I don't see them on my screen. I can only see 9 people.
Okay, it looks like we might be waiting for folks to come on board here. Give it a minute or so.
Get my other little things ready that I'm supposed to read.
So Margie, as long as we're waiting, what time's the trunk or treat?
2 to 6 p.m. Okay. So, and then just have to, and if you want to reserve a spot for the trunk or treat, just go to the Facebook page.
Yes, honey.
Note on there to Emma, and they'll make sure you have a slot in the parking lot. And so Joe, that might be something. You guys are just right around the corner from the post there, but if the guys want to hand out little badges or something, the little sticker badges, whatever, just a thought.
Absolutely appreciate the invite.
It was it's a really big event. Last year, even through COVID, it was pretty well attended. And so it's a really nice community event. A lot of kids show up, let the schools know about it and everything. And it's, posted down through Renton. So, so 2 to 6, I think setup is like at 1 or 1:30, something like that. So, or even if you guys just pop by, if you don't do a whole, it's just a nice, just a nice community event. And it is all outdoors right there in the long parking strip behind by the post.
I will absolutely share that information and see if we can get a few guys to swing by.
Yeah.
Well, team, as we wait for some of our leadership folks to step in and continue on with the meeting, in the interest of keeping us moving, anybody opposed to calling this to order and moving forward? I'm happy to just read through the agenda if that's helpful. I don't hear any opposition. Okay, I'm seeing thumbs up. Awesome. I want to make sure we're being really respectful of folks' time tonight. I know nobody wants to be doing more meetings at 7 o'clock on a Tuesday. So thank you so much for attending. Welcome to the West Hill Community Association's Fall 2021 quarterly meeting. It's really great to see so many faces here tonight. Thank you to the folks who are joining us on the Facebook live stream. Really excited to be able to offer that to the community. West Hill Community Association is an all volunteer nonprofit 501c3 working with and for our community, creating more equitable, engaged, informed, and community. So we're always looking for more folks to join us and help out. And in that vision, you're going to be hearing later tonight about some more exciting expansion of that vision, a little foreshadowing. Folks on Facebook can find the agenda in the comments, and folks on Zoom, I'm going to paste that agenda one more time in the chat for folks that have just joined us. I'm going to move on to the very first point on that agenda, and I'd like to call up Julia, who I believe is there. There's Julia.
Hi, everybody.
Julia is here to give us a recognition of Indigenous Peoples Day that was on October 11th. Take it
Yes,
away.
hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. So for the land acknowledgement, I actually was not able to get out and get some sage. In the Indigenous culture, sage is used to bring in, warn in positive energies. So unfortunately, I don't have my sage stick burning, but I would like to thank Jamie Jackson of the Urban Food Systems Pact for sharing their land acknowledgement. I see she's on the call here. You may find out more information on their website on skywayufsp.org. Indigenous Peoples Day was recently, and I also want to thank my West Hill Community Association for letting me do this. In honor of the ancestors who went before us, I give thanks to my Mapuche ancestors for their resilience in overcoming wars and oppression in Chile. Thank you for being with me on my migration journey to Skyway, Washington, to remind all of us that we are on the unceded, occupied land of the Coast Salish people. We stand with our brothers and sisters of the Muckleshoot, Snoqualmie, Puyallup, Tulalip, and the Suquamish tribes and the Duwamish people, as they are the original stewards of this land since time immemorial and continue to steward this land today. We ground this discussion in this truth to consider when we are talking about who has access to land and the use of land within the aspects of social justice. We cannot talk about the Skyway West Hill urban system without recognizing that the history of how this system came to be is rooted in the displacement and dispossession of Native people from their ancestral land. This acknowledgement serves as the first step in building authentic relationships with our Indigenous brothers and sisters in our efforts to steward this land and fight for justice in terms of the distribution of wealth, opportunities, and privileges within this community and our society. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julia. Really appreciate that. And I think it's a really great opportunity to reflect on that and also to consider actions that we can all take individually. Joey, do we have you on yet? Joey is our board president and our co-chair along with Jeannie Williams. And so I'm kind of peeking to see if those folks are able to join us yet. It looks like not quite yet.
Kevin, do you want help facilitating?
Yes, that would be great.
Okay.
Finn is a seasoned facilitator, so please take it away, Finn.
I can help. You all might hear some baby noises, but just go with the flow. Okay. Thank you, Julia, for that land recognition and for sharing your connection to Indigenous Peoples Day. Before we get started with our community reports, there's a new board member to welcome, Jamie Jackson. Is Jamie Jackson with us? Yes.
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Do you want to share your connection and what you do in West Hill already?
Yes. I am Jamie Jackson. I am a 10-year resident of the Skyway community. I am also a core team member of the urban food systems path that's working to get an urban food system going here in the Skyway community, such as a farmers market. And I'm looking very much forward to us being able to have a community garden and those types of things, and being able to develop some of the wetlands and everything so we can have some healing spaces for us to reconnect to nature. And also, I am the executive director of the Dare to Be Project. We basically work with families. Right now, we are working to help families with the King County Rental Assistance Program, getting them registered, doing outreach, helping them upload documents, those types of things, as well as working with the Tiny House Village here in Skyway. So got a lot going on, but I'm happy to be a board member and look forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie. We're really lucky to have all of your expertise in this community. Okay, so we will go on to our community reports. We'll start with Randy Matheson from the Renton School District. Is Randy on the call? Okay, not to worry, we'll keep moving down. I don't see anyone from Reach Center of Hope currently, so we'll move down to the third. Cynthia Lamoth with Skyway Water Sewer.
Make sure I can get unmuted there. So I'll be brief, but I have two really good topics to talk about. One is that we have some upcoming construction projects that we'll be moving forward with. One is a water main replacement project in the Bryn Mawr area. The other is a sewer replacement project on the north side of Renton Avenue, roughly between 72nd and 76th Avenue South. And then another water main replacement project down along Rainier Avenue and South 113th Street. And what we're even more excited about is this is the second year in a row we had applied for low interest loans for capital projects. And we were successful in getting almost $9 million in low interest loans through the state program. And that's a 20-year term at less than 1% interest. So the reason that's huge for us is we can spread out that cost at that low interest rate, and we don't have to pay for it all at once based on current revenue. So we're excited about that. So watch for more in our newsletter. And then the second piece has to do with customer assistance. Something that our board decided going into 2021 is that they would not raise water and sewer rates. You should have seen a small increase because King County Wastewater Treatment Division increased their rates slightly. We'll be reassessing and see what we need to do going into 2022. But our district, like many other water and sewer districts, terminated or suspended late fees, liens, and turnoffs during this whole year since March of 2020. The governor lifted the restriction on doing that. And because all of our revenue comes from customer rates and we can't forgive those charges, we've extended our program so that we won't charge late penalties until the 1st of January. Okay, but along with that, and there'll be more information in our newsletter that everyone should see up on our website about November 10th, if not sooner, and in our newsletter, is that folks that are having difficulty paying their water and sewer bill can enter into an extended payment program with the district of up to a year. And I'm happy to answer questions. You know where to find me. There'll be information on our website and in our newsletter. So those are the two big things that I have for tonight. Thank you. Or I'll take questions.
Any questions for Cynthia with Skyway Water Sewer? And Devin's managing Facebook. Oh, Julia, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Cynthia. Good to see you.
Hi, Julia.
So Are there statistics? Do you have statistics as far as like how many people in the neighborhood are on utilizing that assistance program?
Right now, we do not have, we have been sending out notices to people. They've been getting regular bills. But what I can say is that typically we have a certain number of people who are in arrears. But that proportion has increased 100%. So we have twice as many people and roughly twice as many dollars that are haven't been paid. And right now, typically under normal times, once someone's bill is 60 days past due, they would either be turned off or property would be liened. Not because that's something we want to do, but because our only revenue is rates that customers pay. We can't just waive those charges. So for this last year and a half, we haven't turned anyone off. We haven't liened properties, and no one has been required to enter into a payment agreement in order to avoid a turnoff. Some districts already are bringing back their standard policies. We chose to extend this through the end of the year. And so we won't go back to our typical policies until the first of the year. Does that answer your question, Julia, or can I?
I guess I wanted like more statistics or like demographics. I'm not sure if whether your organization captures that.
We do not. Okay, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. I can give you dollars across the service area, and if you want to call me, I'd be happy to provide that to you, but we don't track demographics at all in the data that we collect from customers. Name, address, phone number, and sometimes an email address is what we capture.
Okay, I see there's also, let's see, Stephanie Baker.
Hi, just a question on
Stephanie, you're on mute.
Hi, sorry. What is the timeline as far as getting Skyway Water on electronic processing for payments?
We're looking at that. There is a cost involved to do that. And so up to this point in the 8 years that I've been with the district, there's been limited interest from our customers. We have tracked calls, and I'd say we're up to about a dozen people that have expressed an interest. We'll be doing an upgrade of our billing system because it's so old, it's not going to be supported after another year. And one of the features of that updated program is the option to have electronic billing. Now, one of the challenges with that is having people provide us with an email address that we can use to bill electronically. So we are looking at that, and I can keep you posted on the progress we make.
Okay, thank you.
No, thanks, Stephanie.
Jamie, did you have your hand up also?
Yes, I did. I just had a comment. I believe it was a couple of months back. There was a gentleman out installing a wireless meter,
Yes.
and he kind of walked me through why they were installing, what it does, and all that. And I just wanted to commend him taking the time to do that. And you know, because oftentimes you see people doing their jobs, but it's not too often, even with COVID, you know, we both were masked up, but he was able to, you know, kind of explain to me what was being installed, and that you all were trying to make sure that you covered the entire Skyway area. So I know that I cannot speak to it in the terms that he would, but if you want to tell everyone what I'm talking about, it might be nice.
Absolutely. So, and Jamie, thank you for that feedback. It's nice to hear that our crew's out there working and that you had a positive interaction with them. So what Jamie's referring to is we're in the process of replacing all the meters in our water service area with electronic meters. Right now, we spend roughly 5 5 individuals working 8 hours a day to read the roughly 3,300 meters in our service area. The district has managed to continue to serve staff with 8 people, 10 employees total. And so what this will allow us to do as we transition to electronic meters, as the crew walks by with a handheld or they drive by, the electronic device will capture the meter read, rather than having to bend over, lift a lid, read a dial, key it into a handheld, and then move on to the next one. So it'll allow us to cover a lot more ground in less time and not have to increase our staff to do other work activities. So we are probably, I would say roughly 25%, maybe 30% through the service area. So it's a big project. Any questions on that?
Thanks for explaining that. There is one question from Facebook. When you say a small amount, how much was it? I thought it was about $20 of an increase. Am I remembering incorrectly? This person posted on Facebook.
Do you know what the increase is referring to?
I'm not sure. Devin, do you have an idea?
I will see if I can get more clarification.
Okay,
We
and
do
there's
have one more question on the Facebook.
and from Miss Ayana Brown, wondering when it comes to the electronic billing, how much of the pushback has come from more elderly residents, as well as those with limited or no internet access at home?
We did a survey several years ago, and typically we don't ask age or demographics. Some people are not comfortable sharing that information, but I would say it's a tough situation. We have a significant older population, and I'm in that. And then we have a younger population that's more technologically or electronically savvy. And so we're trying to meet both of those needs. Some people, young or old, like that tactile feel of getting a piece of paper that they can then go back to relatively easily. So I would hate to draw a conclusion, based on a small survey. It looks like the Facebook question was about the sewer charge. Okay. And having to do with when will we make a leap to charging sewer costs based on water use. So right now, our contract with King County requires that we pay based on a flat rate. So until King County converts to billing based on consumption, we will be reimbursing King County for a flat rate charge for sewage treatment. I can say what the county is doing is looking at what is the average consumption for a single family residence. And we all realize that some single family houses have 1 person in them. Some single family houses have 9 people in them. And obviously water consumption is very different in those 2 circumstances. However, preliminary results that the county has shared indicate that the average that they would use to bill a single family residence is lower now than was previously estimated. Now that's very preliminary, but if that is rolled up into the county's rate and charge projections, Skyway would likely see a decrease in their overall charge because we're primarily a residential community. And I hope that answers your question. If not, please feel free to call our office and speak to me directly, and I'd be happy to share more information.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Sounds like we have a baby that'd like to ask a question, right? About sewer water.
Okay, thanks. Are we ready to move on to the next community report? John Taylor, Kevin LeClaire, David Dahl, or Bong Santo Domingo for King County Local Services.
Good evening, John Taylor, King County Department of Local Services. It's good to see everybody. I have a couple of things I'm going to turn it over to Kevin And I don't know if I saw David here, but if he's here, he's welcome to hop in at any point in time. There's lots of good stuff going on. Kind of just at a high level, I am a nerd and I look at the county's COVID dashboard every day, as I have throughout this entire pandemic that we've all been living through. And cases are going down. So just take heart, people, all people out there in the world. We had 241 new cases recorded by King County Public Health today. Just for context, we had a high of 788 new cases on August 11th. So that is a radical decline. And that seems to be the trend. I'm not an epidemiologist, but like most people, I'm kind of an amateur epidemiologist now. So take heart. The vaccination rate, someone just jump in. Okay. Vaccination rate in King County is now 87% of residents have had one dose of a vaccine and 82% have had both. So that is, that's getting up there. King County yesterday met their sort of deadline for employees to get vaccinated. So we mandated that all employees be vaccinated. And we had a 97% vaccination rate amongst employees, and that remaining 3%. Many of those folks asked for exemptions and we're working through that. But I would just say to you, as your local government service provider, that's good news because we were very concerned we were going to see. Hey, Finn Hardy, you want to mute your phone, buddy? Or, someone can get Hardy, you can mute it for you. So I think I'm feeling good that we're not going to see incredible service disruptions with like people plowing snow and things, which was a source of anxiety for me a couple, 3 weeks ago. And I'm sure that's true for Joe, who probably was thinking about deputies. And a vaccine mandate takes effect countywide for social gatherings over 500 people in restaurants, bars, stuff like that. So you'll be required to show your vaccination card if you're going out. Dancing, which is not something I do ever anymore because I'm old. But that will have a good effect as well. So anyway, things are looking up on the vaccine front. I just wanted to highlight that for people. Participatory budgeting. So I think I know Ayanna Brown is on the phone tonight. And I think we may have a couple of other members of the Community Investment Budgeting Committee on here. We're at council today talking about participatory budgeting, but this is an effort that the county launched in the last budget. They allocated $10 million as a pilot project for community to decide how they wanted to spend that money for the first time. We're not involved. The county's really there in a supporting role. There's $10 million of capital and there's $1.35 million of marijuana revenue that the community is going to decide how that gets spent. And that is going to get spent in the 5 urban unincorporated areas, which are Skyway, White Center, East Federal Way, Fairwood, and East Renton Plateau. We convened a community committee comprised of 21 members from those 5 urban unincorporated areas. There are 5 members from Skyway on that group. They have been meeting since June to figure out how to do this. And this week, they reached their first major milestone, which is deciding how to allocate those dollars amongst the 5 urban areas. A lazy county bureaucrat such as myself might have just divided 10 million by 5 and given $2 million to each neighborhood. That is not what this group did. They really weighed what we're trying to accomplish with this money, thinking about past inequities in these 5 neighborhoods and who hadn't received things historically because of a whole bunch of reasons, but institutional racism being first and foremost in those, And they decided that they were going to allocate the money kind of thinking about those issues. And Skyway, out of that 10 million, is getting 3.4 million of capital money. So that's good for things like playgrounds and parks and stuff like that. And 810,000 of the marijuana money. So 60% of the marijuana money, and about a third of the capital money. So just want to really commend the work of that group. They've done amazing work. They were at council today, kind of speaking truth to power, and telling the council to give them their money, which I appreciated watching because I didn't have to do it. We will begin the process of helping them get out in the community and ask the community in Skyway how they want to spend that $3.4 million and where they would like to see it go. And then we'll kind of help move that down the field. But just, this is a completely community-driven process, and I want to thank everybody from Skyway who's been involved. It's been amazing. We are making headway on a Skyway Community Center, long-standing need in Skyway. We've hired a project manager, Malcolm Lee. He is a longtime resident of Skyway. He now lives in Kent, but he moved last year. So deep roots in Skyway. He is busy refreshing all of the past studies that have been done on community centers and kind of looking at those with fresh eyes. And we've been meeting with Councilmember Zahalai and a group of community leaders who are very interested in the Skyway Bowl as a potential site. And we're having an appraisal done on that parcel. So that is everything that is going on that isn't sub-area planning. And for sub-area planning, I'm going to turn it over to Kevin LeClaire.
Thanks, John. Yeah, so I'll try and keep this brief as well. So I'll just kind of give an overview. The Skyway West Hill sub-area plan, as many of you know, is a 20-year plan for the neighborhood that expresses the community's vision for the future and establishes policies to help achieve that vision. And it's also accompanied by a series of what are called map amendments. It's partly comprehensive plan, land use nations, and part zoning or rezones that help to try and achieve the community's vision for the future. The public comment period has been open since September 30th. And as of now, it will be open until October 28th. So basically a little, about 9 days away. But we have heard from some community members and organizations that they would like more time. So right now we are evaluating that request, and we'll be letting folks know soon what we decide to do. But we've heard that feedback, and we're looking at it, see what we can do. That said, though, we have gotten some good amount of feedback on the online survey that is up at www.publicinput.com/Skyway, and I'll put a link in the chat when I'm done here. To date, there have been over 500 page views. 35 community members have participated with 751 responses and 21 comments posted. And if you visit the site, you can actually see what other people are posting as far as their comments go. We've also received 7 email comments that have come in, and I'll put the email address in the chat as well. Also want to let folks know that there are hard copies of the public review draft at the Skyway Library. You can go up there and check it out if you don't want to pull it up online, but we do have copies online that you can download and just read on your screen. And then finally, I'll let you know that the Skyway Community Voices Project is partnering with the RIS Partnership to host a virtual information session on Tuesday, October 26th at 5:30 p.m. And I'll put a registration link in the chat as well when we're done. So just want to encourage folks to check it out and share your voice so that we can hear from as many people, and then we can get as much comment as we can, and then revise it and give it to the council at the end of the year. So thanks.
Hey, Kevin.
Yeah.
Thank you. I heart you for all the work you've been doing on this. And I realize that Malcolm Lee is here, so I apologize for that. Hey, Malcolm, would you mind throwing your camera on for 1 second and just introducing yourself to folks so they can put a face with a name? Because you're probably
Absolutely.
Malcolm.
Yeah, sorry everyone. I have really poor lighting in my little office space here, but it sets the mood right. But hey, my name is Malcolm Lee, and I am the new Skyway West Hill Community Center project manager. And I am glad to be here today. Sorry I had to come late. Had to do some things down in Sumner, but I'm here now. And John, thank you for the introduction. But like John said, I've basically been getting my feet wet with the review up to this point and doing what I can to kind of establish a good foundation for working ahead now. And it's been great meeting everyone that I've met thus far. And my special shout out to Miss Ayanna Brown. She was one of the people on my panel, but I have been a part of the community in Skyway for so long, and hearing her story just really was heartfelt. So I'm really appreciative to have her in this space right now as well. But yeah, thank you for the introduction, and please reach out to me with any questions you have regarding Skyway's Community Center updates, and I'll be sure to get the answers to you as soon as possible.
All right, thank you, King County Local Services, John, Kevin, and Malcolm. Nice to meet you, Malcolm. Thank you for helping to bring good things to Skyway. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Jeannie Williams, our co-president, and she can go forward with taking any questions for King County Local Services before we move on to the next item for community reports. So go ahead, Jeannie. I see Micah's got a hand up.
Thank you, Fed. Yeah, go ahead, Micah.
Hi there. Thanks, Local Services, for the presentation. Sorry, I'm unable to put my video on. I had a question about the sub-area planning process and specifically the development community, and more specifically the for-profit development community's involvement in the feedback process. And I wanted to ask a couple questions if I could. One, we've seen that there is feedback being given by for-profit developers. Obviously, everyone has a right to give feedback. And I was curious, one, if you have a sense yet, the proportion or the weight, you know, as in the whole population of comments, if you know if for-profit development has been really, really involved in the opinion there. And then generally, even if you don't know that yet, because you haven't done the analysis yet, I was curious how you would answer to a community person like myself and others who are wary of for-profit development and the idea that they may not have things like anti-displacement and, you know, combating systemic inequities at heart. How do you handle that?
Well, I guess I'll just say that we are kind of monitoring what comments have come in, and the online survey does not require that you leave an email address or identify yourself. So I guess we don't know necessarily who is leaving comments, but although some folks have, and so you can see their email and their name, or at least their name come up so you can tell who they are. The idea is that it's the community's plan. So more than anything, we want to hear from community members, and we really want to encourage as many community members as possible to really participate and really honestly try and overwhelm us with the amount of comments that come in. That would be ideal, because then we would really know what the common sentiment is. And so that would, in terms of weight, we want to hear as many comments as possible. But we've been doing this for a number of years, and we kind of have, I think, a pretty good idea of what the community is looking for. And if something came in that was clearly not what we're hearing from the community at large, it would be, I'd say, a little more out of place than if it were the common sentiment. So again, I think I just encourage folks to really, you know, take a look at it, comment, encourage your neighbors to look at it and comment, and that way we'll know we're hearing from the community.
Yeah, Micah, let me just kind of add a little bit to that, which is I would say that the preponderance of outreach and the preponderance of engagement has been with community, not with the development community. Early on, in the first iteration of the plan, when it was just the land use plan, we did do a kind of a roundtable with a group of nonprofit and for-profit developers to get a sense for what the sideboards were for them, where they would just be like, it's not worth our time to even try to do anything if the zoning requires whatever it might be. The intent in that was, you know, if you create land use regulations that are so stringent that no one will develop, you don't see any change in the community. And so you're trying to thread that needle. And I think we have done that, but with much more of an emphasis on community than on the development community. And you know, the anti-displacement measures that have been are being advanced with this kind of speak to that. We're much more concerned about making sure that there's affordability, and the people who have been the core of this community and define this community will be here before the sub-area plan is adopted and after the sub-area plan and the associated zoning is adopted. That's kind of the public policy marching orders we're operating under from the council and the executive.
Could I ask a quick question? Who were the authors of this plan, and how many people who live in Skyway did you consult with before this draft?
The authors of the plan itself are Kevin primarily, some of the other sub-area planning teams. So we have 2 other sub-area planners. We have folks from regional planning. So understand, it's a plan, so it needs to be in plan speak to be submitted to council, but it reflects an enormous amount of community engagement in Skyway. Kevin, I don't even know how many people we've talked to. Hundreds, probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's been going on and for years, really, and it goes all the way back. And we drew even from some of the Skyway West Hill Action Plan work that Skyway Solutions had done several years ago. I want to say we can't take credit for that, but that was definitely a community-led effort, and we drew on that and tried to just continue to deepen our understanding. But you know, and there was a public process on the land use plan that was adopted last year that has sort of prompted us to continue to talk with the community and bring it to this point. So it's been, yeah, hundreds and hundreds.
Other questions before you bid us adieu and move on to the next? All right, well, so Kevin alluded to this, that we've been asked to extend the deadlines. We're evaluating that. I will just say I'm the director, so I get to exercise executive privilege sometime. I'm pretty confident we will extend the deadline. If the community wants us to give it more time, we're going to give it more time. The question is how much more time, and we need to talk with Urban Family, who's our community engagement contractor here in Skyway. So we are using a community-based organization in Skyway to do the community outreach around this plan, Daniel. And we need to confer with them, and we need to confer with the White Center Community Development Association, who also have a plan being developed simultaneously and who've also expressed similar desire to extend the public comment period. So probably we'll be back pretty quickly here before the next quarterly meeting with an update on that. And we'll get word out to, West Hill Community Association and Skyway Coalition and all the groups here who've been involved in this planning effort. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
King County Local Services. Appreciate all the information. If there's no more questions around the sub-area plan for local services, then we'll move on to the King County Fire District. Chief Hicks, if you want to go ahead and give an update.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is well this evening. My name is Eric Hicks, Fire Chief for King County Fire District 20, Skyway. I'll try to be quick as well. I'm just going to report on a few things. The governor's COVID proclamation, this applied to all EMTs, medical personnel, and our firefighters, no matter if they were career or volunteer firefighters. Well, I'm incredibly proud to say that all of our members are vaccinated. We are at 100% as of the 18th. And we are moving forward with a healthy workforce. So I'm very proud of our members getting vaccinated. On September 1st, we had a house fire at the 12200 block of 68th Avenue South that took out an RV, a boat, brush, threatened 2 homes on both sides of the home. And that actually got upgraded to a 3rd alarm fire, which means we received help from fire departments as far as Kent. And we were able to control that fire to just the house itself, and it did not spread to the other homes. The one home to the south suffered some smoke damage, and that's being worked on, but we did save the home. Community events. Unfortunately, we had to, cancel our annual health and safety fair. I was pretty bummed about that, but we had some COVID concerns that we had to deal with. But we did continue with a drive-through backpack giveaway, and also with vaccinations provided by UW Harborview. I'm in partnership with Elijah Wan's Hand and Miss Ayana Brown, able to give away 362 backpacks. And so I was very happy about that. I also want to thank King County Public Health. They worked with Miss Brown to get those backpacks sourced and into the hands of all the children. So that was a great event. Our department participated with the VFW Skyway Post for the 9/11 ceremony. I was very proud to participate in that and honor the lives of the firefighters that were lost and all the lives that are lost on 9/11. We ended the event at the fire station in front of the statue, and we're able to say a few words. The Skyway Firefighters Union also sponsored a benefit breakfast for the VFW after that event. So that was a great day all around. I'm proud to report that our fire department newsletter hit mailboxes, I believe should have been last week. Many of you should have received that newsletter. It is the first newsletter after probably 2 or 3 decades of not having a newsletter go out from our department. There are a lot of great things in the newsletter, from CERT to fire extinguisher, tips and tricks, to my message, to the great work we're doing with COVID-19. And hopefully we'll get more of those newsletters out next year. Also electronic newsletters on our website. So very proud of that newsletter that went out. I want to take a—
Devin was holding it up for you.
Oh, was she? Oh, I missed it. Oh, yeah. A lot of work went into that. It was a year in the making to get that up and running again. So we got a lot of great help. I also want to take a few minutes and talk about important ballot measure that's coming up. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have already received your ballots in the mail. And you see we have 2 things in the ballot. We have a commissioner board member up for re-election. Also, we have our multi-year levy lit lift titled Prop 1. This is the same levy lit lift that you saw many years ago, probably about 10 years ago. Now, this is not the excess levy. This is a levy lit lift. We're currently in an excess levy period, which we're collecting 53 cents per thousand. And that's paid for a lot of things from, updates to the fire station, to updates to our equipment, and so forth. That's going to expire actually at the end of this year. So what's on the ballot currently in front of you is the levy lit lift. It was to provide 6 years of stable funding for our fire district. And it's very predictable, and it's something that we can plan around, and it makes sense for what's occurring in our fire district. The fact is that a lot of our expenses have risen. Our costs associated with equipment has increased. General maintenance, repair is on the rise, and our facilities and fleet and our personnel, all those costs go up. Again, this is a multi-year levy lit lift, and it will put our rate back up to $1.50. We're currently at $1.13 per thousand. It will take us up to $1.50. So if you think about it, if you take the $1.13 that we're collecting now and the 53 cents that we're collecting on excess levy, that 53 cents will drop off at the end of this year. And we're asking that we will be able to go up to $1.50 over the next 6 years. And that's something that we would have the opportunity to do each year if this is passed. Okay. So again, this is $1.50 per thousand of your assessed valuation. Now, there is a great transparency tool on King County's website, so you can actually see the proposed rate, how much it would go up from the levy lit lift, you know, what we're asking for. And I can actually drop that in the chat box unless someone else has that quickly to drop in the chat box, but I can drop it in the chat box after I'm done recording. Okay. This measure is very critical for our fire district. And the fact is, through our leadership and policy direction of our Board of Fire Commissioners, we have adopted a pay-as-you-go strategy. So if you were to look at what's called the FIT tool with Washington State and compare our fire district to other fire districts in other cities, we have no debt. So we operate on paying cash for everything, so we don't incur any debt over the years. Additionally, we've added career firefighters, also going to continue to add additional volunteer firefighters that we will deploy throughout the community. Given additional staffing, we'll be able to do two things. One is we'll be able to add our aid unit during the daytime, because we do have our aid unit in service at night with volunteers most of the time, but we want to get that aid unit staffed during the day as well. So you remember, if the fire truck's on an aid call, we are getting help from units from outside of our district, from Tukwila or Renton. We want to be able to capture those back-to-back calls that come in when one unit's out of service. So we want to be able to increase our unit reliability with our fire engine for those more critical fire calls, car accidents, and those more critical calls. And then lastly, you know, the bottom line is the community has been phenomenal in supporting our fire district. And I'm proud of what we've done over the last 4 years. And we're making serious progress towards the future to be able to serve our district better. And I'm always available for questions. I'll come out and see different community groups, or if you want to just stop by and talk to me at the fire station, we can have a cup of coffee outside, do some social distancing, and have some great conversations. So that's the end of my report. Any questions?
How do people contact you, Chief?
I beg your pardon?
How do people contact you if they'd like to set up a coffee date?
You know, I'm always about just stopping by the station. You can call our office. Again, I can throw the phone number in the chat box there.
Hi, I have a quick question.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Hi, Chief Hicks. So I did see the newsletter. It looked fabulous. I saw I didn't have a chance to read it like word for word, but I did see an image in there about a person with a fire extinguisher in their home. And I have two of them, and the one in the kitchen is really hard to pull out. Is there a resource or a video that you recommend that could show me how to do it quickly? Because my husband showed me, but he's stronger than I am. And so now after seeing your newsletter, I'm like, oh my gosh, do I really know how to use this fire extinguisher in the kitchen? You know, so just any tips you might have for me.
You know, some fire extinguishers are made differently. So I would love to see the fire extinguisher for myself, you know, so I can actually give you adequate, you know, appropriate information. So I would say if you could come up to the fire district, to the office, and let us take a look at it, you know, then I can comment on the fire extinguisher and give you some information. You know, because also to give me an opportunity to inspect the fire extinguisher to make sure that it's still in compliance.
All right, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, and I want to give you a follow-up. I know that you came to our block party in August, and I had expressed concern about all those little kids driving around in their little speed scooters without a helmet. I haven't seen them since then driving around without a helmet, because I think you had told me to go to the backpack giveaway to get some helmets for them, but I haven't seeing them driving around anymore. So
Yeah, they're probably getting, the weather's changing. So I would love to try to coordinate something with the apartment complex to put together some sort of, helmet giveaway.
that's a good idea. That'd be really nice because I know they live in that apartment complex there.
Awesome. Thank you, Chief Hicks.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you everyone for your support.
Okay.
Oh, one more plug to put in. Get out and vote.
Get out and vote.
Get out and vote.
Okay, are there any more questions? Nope, okay. Okay, next on my list is the King County Sheriff's Office.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Joe Hodgson. I've just recently been installed as the major down at Precinct 4, which serves the Skyway area. This is my 4th time around at Precinct 4 over the course of my career. I've served there at pretty much every level, including as a new deputy way back when, and actually managed to serve the Skyway community for about a year in that capacity. But I've since then drifted all around the department, and now I'm back again, and it's certainly a pleasure to be back at Precinct 4. I need to apologize. The lighting and possibly the sound might not be too good. I arrived here tonight and found out that my computer has crashed, and so I had to go to the backup system, and that's why things aren't quite what they could be. So if you're having any trouble hearing me, I apologize for that, using the tinny microphone.
No, we can hear you.
Great. So because this is my first meeting, I'm not quite sure what might be optimal, and I'm certainly willing to take feedback on what anybody would like to see from these appearances quarterly. But I do have a few crime stats that I'd like to go over just over what's occurred over the last 3 months. And then I'm going to turn the floor over to Deputy Sales so he can talk about what he's been up to recently and what he's got coming on the horizon. And then if anybody has any questions, we'll certainly cover that also. So actually our crime stats for working through July, August, and September were quite flat, which that's not a statement necessarily on the total numbers, but things were very consistent. There hasn't been wild swings. The only category we saw a large swing in, unfortunately, was felony assaults. We did have a big jump in September on our felony assaults. And most unfortunately, the big jump was basically involving DV crimes and DV assaults. So I'm hoping that we get a handle on that and that comes back down. But right now, in July we had 4, in August we had 3, and then in September we saw 9 felony assaults. So rather unfortunate. Like I said, everything else trended fairly flat. I do have a couple of, we had 3 firearms cases. 2 of them were of the drive-by nature. One of them was on a house where a house was shot multiple times, but nobody was hurt. And then we had an individual who was, reports he was walking down the street and he was shot in the foot. He was not, besides telling us that, he was not very cooperative with the investigation. And so we really don't have much to go on with that one. I think that's about all with the crime stats for the last 3 months. I will, like I said,
There's a question. Jamie has a question for you.
Okay.
Very concerning to me. Can you hear me okay, first and foremost?
Absolutely.
Okay. The DV increase is concerning because I think it's worth us digging a little deeper with COVID and the amount of stress, distress, whatever we want to call it. We are seeing, I believe there's been some challenges also with CPS type challenges with, child abuse or what have you, kind of creeping up too. But it'd be nice for our community to coordinate or connect with public health to see, this increase here? Is it just more than us? And is this pointing to a bigger problem? Because it's, again, that's just very concerning, DV creeping up, especially with this being a time where we're in close proximity and under the same roof working and what have you. Some kids still going to school online, some kids struggling with school. We just have a lot of different family dynamics going on right now. And I think it'd be worth us just, you know, going a little deeper into that. And again, I sensed your concern, and I'm just as concerned as well.
Yeah, it's a key observation regarding the COVID situation and the actually the month it occurred in. There are a lot of changes that come in September, and I assume that puts probably a little more stress than some of the other months, and that may very well be a contributor. I think it does deserve evaluation. I'm hopeful that it's an oddity and not a trend, and we'll certainly be watching the trends as they continue, both in Skyway and elsewhere, and see if we're seeing similar patterns, and like I said, seeing if they continue.
I see another question from Troy.
Hi, good evening. I know you were talking about trends and like domestic violence, what have you. How about houses getting broken into? Have you seen an uptick in that? Because recently my house got broken into, and the sheriff that was assisting us stated that there's been a trend going on. He's been seeing an uptick in you know, house burglaries.
Well, I can give you the numbers for the last 3 months. I can only rely on these. I have, like I said, I landed in precinct 4 last month, so I haven't been tracking this for. Our crime analysis people put together our stats, and we had 6 residential burglaries in July, 6 residential burglaries in August, and then it went down to 4 in September. So that's our trend line, at least on the short term. I haven't had a chance to look at what the last year or so has produced, so I couldn't really answer that question. But right now it seems fairly flat for what, fairly consistent with fairly consistent numbers over those 3-month period. I don't, like I said, I'd have to look deeper into the past year before I could give you a very good answer on the question of what's going on. The deputies are usually pretty tuned in, so if there's something that the deputy's seeing, then there might be something to that, but I don't know what information they're working on. So.
That's understood. That's understood.
And I see a hand for Cynthia.
Yes, not to put anyone on the spot. I see Bianca Davis is here tonight, and there was a great presentation. I believe it was back in April. And I wonder if she could speak to, are there any resources available about the question for domestic violence that I believe Jamie brought it up. Again, I just remember it was a really good presentation and talked about resources that were available to the community.
Yes, I'm Bianca Davis Lovelace. I'm the executive director of Reach Renton. Coming on a little late because I didn't have the link. So, but as far as domestic violence, that is not necessarily my particular field of choice. We're centered more around homelessness. So we do serve women and children who have been through DV before. So we have had folks, I'm driving too, so if it sounds a little crazy, please forgive me. But we have served folks who have endured DV, domestic violence. So as far as with resources, we provide shelter. We do work with mental health services. In particular, in the past, it has been Valley Cities. We try to get them in not only into our shelter, but we also try to eventually get them into housing. So those are some of the ways in which we provide resources for those who have endured DV. So that's where I can speak from as a homeless shelter provider and how we are able to serve those who are impacted by domestic violence.
Well, thanks, Bianca. Didn't want to put you on the spot. Thank you.
Thank you. I see a hand for Julia.
Yes, thank you. So I have a few questions here. In regards to the domestic violence, what services are offered to both parties and what follow-up happens? In regards to break-ins, why are they doing it? And what resources are being given to them to get to the root of why they needed to break in? And what should I do if I suspect or see domestic violence?
So there are a number of services provided to the victims of domestic violence. Those are provided through court advocates and the prosecutor's office, typically. We have a resource sheet that is handed to all victims so they are able to locate resources that are most appropriate for them at the time. I think for the most part, and I'm not an expert in this, but I think for the most part, any resources that are offered to perpetrators of domestic violence typically come after the court process is played out, and referrals to various services and court requirements for possible treatment for alcoholism or issues like that that might be contributing factors are typically what happens with those. Regarding the burglaries, I'm sorry, I need you to restate the question on the burglaries because I can't remember all of what you asked.
Okay, sure. So why are they doing it? And what resources are being given to them to get to the root of why they needed to break in?
Well, again, I think that I don't know that there's any one answer to why burglaries are being committed. It is certainly not uncommon for us to arrest burglary suspects who have various chemical dependencies that are contributing to why they're doing it. Again, that is something that comes around by the time we get to the court process, that maybe that is where they're referred rather than being sent to jail. They are sent to some sort of program that will assist them with their dependency issues.
Thank you, Julia, for your questions. And I see Margie has her hand up.
Yes, thank you. I know Renton has a dedicated domestic violence advocate for just Renton alone. Considering the size of King County, does King County have domestic violence advocates? And I use that in the plural because I would think that there should be, more than one for each of the different centers, or possibly a domestic violence advocate per precinct.
And I will be honest with you, I am really hesitant to answer that question. I have been assigned for quite some time away from King County unincorporated services. We have always had multiple advocates at each court, each of the district courts, and at Superior Court also. I'm hoping maybe one of my fellow department members here might be more familiar with what's currently going on regarding DV advocacy. If anybody wants to jump in, I'm just not caught up right now on what's going on there.
Well, I just know that the domestic violence advocate from Renton, because she's a friend, whenever there's a situation, and not only just for domestic violence, but other violent crimes, she gets called as well, to be there, with the police officers. So it's not just necessarily through, the DA's office or the court system. She usually is right on scene often. So that's what I was wondering.
You mean at the time of the offense that she is actually on scene in those circumstances?
Yes.
That is not something that we have that King County has undertaken to this point that I'm aware of. Again, you got to take what I'm saying here with a little bit of a grain of salt. Like I said, I've been away from the King County system and serving in one of our contract cities for a while now, And so I'm not quite caught up, but I don't think we've gotten to the point where they are actually in the field on scene with our deputies.
So Major, if I can step in here for a second.
Please do.
For everybody that doesn't know me, I'm Captain Pete Horvath with the Sheriff's Office. I work with Major Hodgson at the precinct. Have worked with Major Hodgson for several years through our careers, so we've crossed paths several times. To answer your question a little better, the King County Sheriff's Office for unincorporated King County has a domestic violence investigation unit that follows up on all felony domestic violence cases, as well as reviewing all misdemeanor domestic violence cases to make sure that all the I's have been dotted, all the T's have been crossed, and that the case has been fully investigated before being routed off to the prosecutor's office. These detectives also work hand in hand with our unincorporated domestic violence advocates, of which there are several, but I'm not certain how many, but I do know it's more than one for all of unincorporated. And they're generally split up by area. So the Southwest precinct would have one, unincorporated Southeast precinct would likely have one. The North precinct, which is north of I-90, would have one advocate, or possibly more. So I hope that helps a little bit.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
I just wanted to add that Reach does work. I know who you're talking about for Renton, for the city of Renton. We do work with her. We've had to call her several times throughout our time with the city of Renton, but we still have access to her, and she's willing to help whenever a situation comes up. So that she's definitely a really good resource.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all the domestic violence questions. And welcome, Major Hodgson.
Well, thank you very much.
Welcome to Skyway.
Thank you very much. Welcome back to Skyway.
Yes, welcome back.
It's been a little while, but if there aren't any more questions for me, I would like to allow Deputy Sales to talk a little bit about what he's got on the horizon, if that's okay.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Deputy Sales. I am the Skyway Storefront Deputy. I know a few of you here in the chat from the Block Watch meetings, from the National Night Out, and just from stopping by the storefront. I'll be very brief because it is crunch time. I'm looking at the time now. I've had 4 Block Watch meetings, one in the beginning of the month, well, 2 in the beginning of the month and 2 the week after. So 4 in total, early afternoon and evening. Those Block Watch meetings just simply addressed common concerns as far as break-ins, crime stats, things that the major kind of addressed earlier, as well as some community-based things that I have going on as far as coat drive that me and Manny will be putting together. Miss Ayana Brown, we will get with you as well, because we would love for you to be a part of that as well as anybody else in the West Hill community. We are still continuing the Skyway walks. Obviously, the weather is getting a little yucky, so won't be much walking, but I will be making sure that I am present at least one day during the weekend and a couple hours during the week after my normal shift. Outside of that, I have also built a pretty good rapport with Deputy Cookie. That's what she goes by. Her name is Deputy Bolden. She works with SPD. I attended the local youth and law forum that was held on October 9th. And essentially it was the King County judges, lawyers, police officers from multiple departments talking to the youth, giving very helpful advice, and also very, very good intellectual conversations that needed to be had, especially in today's society. So that's pretty much all I have. Me and Manny will be kind of reaching out to you all in regards to the coat drive. Oh, also, we are starting back up vacation checks and house checks. I know that has been a thing that kind of disappeared over time. Luckily for me, some of the block watch captains were able to get me the form, as well as my counterpart, my community resource officer, Scott Dungan. He's been very helpful as well. Just, we want to kind of get that rolling again, just because we have additional officers like myself and Scott Dungan who can dedicate hours during the weekend or late nights possibly to do security checks and house checks. And essentially what that is, to make a long story short, vacation checks are exactly what they sound like. There's a form, very simple, date, times, when you'll be gone, if anybody will be at the home, and that gets submitted to myself or Scott Dungan, and we kind of split that task up, or even amongst other deputies, and we kind of just make sure we kind of drive by the home and things like that, make sure everything's secure, locked, and safe. As far as the house checks or security checks, that is just simply making sure that you have proper locks, proper lighting, cameras if you don't have them, and just giving suggestions as far as safety. As I believe Troy was a gentleman earlier, he stated that there seems to be an uptick of break-ins, and the holidays are approaching, weather is getting a little yucky. So naturally people are going to try to get into places that are warm or have some type of value so they can buy things to stay warm or to stay afloat financially. And as another young lady stated earlier, COVID does have a lot to do with that as far as the domestic violence goes. COVID has a lot to do with people being cooped up in the house, crime rates going up, people being a little bit in distress, lack of resources, funding, things of that sort. So I'm glad that Skyway is getting more funding, more attention. And lastly, I think I lost my, Blockwatch. I talked to Jeannie about that. We want to bring back the Skyway Blockwatch. Lake Ridge has multiple Blockwatch groups and captains. I believe that Skyway needs multiple as well as in the apartments. And my counterpart, Scott Dungan, he actually gave me some information and forms, and I can forward those to whoever may need them. In regards to the apartment complexes, actually having them as well. So so nobody is left out. And Manny is actually working with Manny on that as well, as far as maybe getting some signs, getting some people to sign up, and kind of seeing how that kind of works out in the Skyway community. So sorry, I was a little long with it, but I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. That's all I have. I see Troy has a question.
I do, sir. It's concerning your block watch. Right now we have like a neighborhood telephone tree in process, but we would like a block watch around our neighborhood as well, which would be like 115th, up toward, just the Bryn Mawr Hill, basically.
Yeah.
With the holiday seasons and just, houses are vulnerable, people are going on vacation. So, I mean, how do we go about going about a block watch in our neighborhood? Do you have like a form or?
So yeah, there are forms, as I stated, that we have, and Scott Dungan could maybe chime in just a little bit on that, but it's not a difficult process. And essentially, it was brought up actually for a meeting that we and me, myself, and Jenny and a few others had maybe a couple days too long ago. And we brought it up, and that was kind of a concern of mine, because I was under the impression that Skyway had a block watch and that maybe it just needed to get more members, but I was made aware that there was a block watch, and you guys would like a block watch. So now that I know that and we have the proper resources to do so, I would like to kind of move forward with that. So I can get, Jenny has some of the forms. I'll make sure she has all of them, as well as getting in contact with any of the higher ups that kind of run the entire host meetings here, and I'll get that to them so they can get it to the Facebook page and things like that. And then you guys will be able to contact me, Scott, and then we'll kind of sort it out from there. But it's not a hard process, so we can get it for sure done.
No, perfect. I'll be glad to join the block watch, honestly. And I know some neighbors around here that we already had like our small little, community watch. It's already started, like 5 strong. And we would definitely would like to be partaking in that, please. So
Yeah, and you don't need a lot of people. I mean, it could be 5, it
yeah,
could be 10. I mean, but it helps. We've seen the interactions and it helps. So
perfect. Thank you.
And Troy.
Yep.
I see Cynthia had a question, and then we'll move on to the next.
Just really quickly, and I know this perhaps isn't as critical as the other like topics we've talked about, DV and all, but I've noticed that there's been a huge increase in use of the two-way left turn lane as a passing lane. And if there's anything that can be done about it, I've had the same vehicle pass me in the two-way left turn lane at the same time within the same week. And just tonight, there were 2 occasions where I observed somebody, different cars, but somebody's really going to get hurt. And I don't know what can be done, if anything, about it. But
what area is this at?
North and southbound, but typically between 75th by the apartments and then going down towards the 72nd.
Mm-hmm. So those areas, as well as Rainier Ave, people using that middle lane. I actually last summer I did a problem solving project where I wrote tickets all summer for people that were speeding, as well as Rainier, and using that middle lane to pass, because we've seen some very bad accidents. Just that those intersections that you gave, as well as the 2 that I gave. As far as what we can do, letting the deputies know, typically that tends to be a trend in the afternoon or graveyard shift, for whatever reason that is, I guess because most people are at work during the day. But letting the deputies know, and maybe getting some guys out there who do like to write tickets, because after so many violations, or if so many violations are committed, vehicles can get towed, people can still be arrested for reckless driving and things like that. The only thing is, and I will be very brutally honest about that, people know that we cannot pursue and or chase. They're the same thing. So if we try to pull these individuals over for whatever reason, and if it's just to simply give a warning or a ticket or whatever the case may be, if they don't stop and they continue to drive reckless, there's not much that we can do about that. So I kind of just want to throw that out there, that we will always attempt to stop the people who are driving reckless, because children are out there, our elderly are out there, the residents are out there, people are just coming and going throughout the neighborhood. And like I said, we've seen some pretty bad accidents, but tickets, higher police presence, but as you know, we are suffering for bodies, as most police departments are. So we're doing our very best, but that actually came up in the block watch meeting. So that has already been noted.
All right, thanks, Deputy.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you so much. Great information, everybody. For the sake of time, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and move on, because we're kind of running low on some time. I don't see, I know that Ryan was gonna come on and give us an update on the Envision Resource Center, kind of what's going on there. Don't see Ryan though. Okay, so next on my list then is going to be Khadijah Jackson about King County Metro new van program.
Hi, I'm Khadijah Jackson. I am the Skyway Community Transportation Coordinator. Sorry for my lighting as well. I'm in the process of transferring back home. Just a background about me. I'm from the Skyway area. I grew up in the neighborhood, and now I have the opportunity of working for King County Department of Local Services, who has also partnered with Metro to bring Skyway Community Van to the community. And I am excited to share with you that this van program will have 3 vans available to the community. I'm sorry, I did have a PowerPoint to share, but I will go without that. And so I'm just gonna switch my screen so I can have some bullet points.
I can share.
Okay, thank you. Please, Janie, I don't have my laptop. I would appreciate that. And that second slide there. Oh.
Sorry, it made me sign in.
Sorry, and it's only 3 slides. I could have just winged it. It just helps me to have these bullet points. My brain just is everywhere at the end of the night here. Next slide, please. There we go. So community van service. This service will be providing group trips to popular destinations that is identified by the community. It will be driven by a volunteer that I am asking for anybody who was interested in volunteering to please reach out to me. There is a criteria list that you would need to meet in order to be approved. But once screened, that'll be more beneficial to the program, that I have these core drivers that'll be able to plug in for those trips. And then the trips are promoted through a website that I don't have the link right now. It's still being created on the back end. Riders will go to that website to look at the trips that are available for them, that they can already join, or they can request a new trip. They will be picked up at their stops that they list on the location pickup, and then pay a small fare. That fare is the same as the Metro bus fare. So $2.75 for adults and $1.50 for kids. On those, out of the 3 vans, one of them will be accessible for a van, for wheelchairs. And then the next slide. This slide is just about me, me being the community transportation coordinator. I am recruiting for volunteer drivers. I promote trips to get people on board, and I also maintain the van maintenance, as well as sharing other transportation services that are in the area. That small box down there is my contact information, which is also my direct work cell number, so I can receive texts or calls, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And then next slide. Here is just a list of other jurisdictions that the community van is already in. And then we are also coming to Tukwila and Redmond soon. And then below is Melissa Allen. She's my program manager, and that was on there from a previous presentation as well. And that is the end of my slides there. Sorry I rushed through that. I know we're short for time, but I wanted to share what I could do. Are there any questions out there? Sounds good. I don't think
I see.
Okay.
I see Julia has a question.
Yes, hi, thank you for that. I'm a little disappointed to see that King County Metro is not investing in our community and expecting us to come up with volunteers to drive the van. I would hope that, King County Metro would look into investing and paying for someone to provide driving services.
Definitely, I will be sure to notate that. And I do have a bi-weekly meeting coming up this week, which we all the CTCs meet together, and I'll be sure to share that feedback and see what happens from there. Any other questions or statements, concerns? All righty, I think that'll be it. Thank you all.
Well, thank you, Khadijah. Appreciate you giving us the information. And next on my list is actually Julia for Washington Equity Now. So do you have information for us?
Yes, thank you. I see that there are several people on here that probably are not familiar with Washington Equity Now, so I'm going to put our website link into the chat and also give you an update. I've been working very closely with Councilmember Girmay Zahalai's office and him. He actually put forth a motion to the King County Council. I'm just trying to find it here, that is going to be put forth in the meeting, the committee of the whole, tomorrow morning at 9:30, and they're holding a public hearing on this. So very excited. Ouch, where is it? Here, I'm putting it in the chat, the actual motion. And what it is that we're looking at, this motion is involving restoring race and gender conscious affirmative action practices in King County and Washington Equity Now. I've been working, the steering committee has been working with the governor's office to urge him to actually follow Washington State Supreme Court decision that was actually done in 2003. However, with King County being the largest county in the state, with them looking at this tomorrow, we've gotten a lot of council members, King County council members to sign on. Up the Grove, Janie Cole Wells are additional co-sponsors of this motion. And it's going to be looked at tomorrow by the Committee of the Whole. And then it would either be like a due pass recommendation to go to the full council for a meeting next Tuesday. Just to give you an idea, I-200, which I think it's like close to 25 years ago when that was passed through, it really affected affirmative action. And another thing that also ties in, I want to pull this link up, the King County Auditor in the summertime came out with a report that showed that under race conscious neutral practices, there have been primarily contracting opportunities being given to white men. So we're really wanting to change that. And I did have a link to that King County Auditor's report, but I can't find it right now. Oh, here it is. It's titled Contracting Inequities Persist in a Race Neutral Environment. And so that's in particular relating to contracting. The Washington Equity Now campaign also includes public education and public employment. I know for myself, I work for the Washington Employment Security Department, and I've looked at their statistics where the majority of people in leadership are white people. And I know they have a equity, diversity, inclusion director who they recently hired. But we're trying to make sure that there are equitable opportunities for everyone in society, with gender that looks at gender and race, to make sure that all the opportunities are spread out amongst everybody and not just a certain group. So I put a few links in the chat, and that is my update. We're very excited to have Council Member Zahalai explain this to the Committee of the Whole tomorrow. And then once they make a recommendation, hopefully it'll go to the full committee, the full council on Tuesday. I did also work with Seattle Council Member Lorena Gonzalez's office for her to spearhead a letter signed by all Seattle City Council members in support of this. And this hopefully will really bring opportunities for residents in Skyway to get more contracting jobs, more seats at public universities, and more public jobs. So feel free to look at our website and sign up to support us in any way you can. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Julia, and appreciate all the information. She's put some links in the chat that you can go and look at. Next on my list, I have Miss Ayana Brown with Elijah's Hands.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me. I would like, let me pull up my talking points, and I won't be before you long because I know our time is well spent. I would like to start out by giving my heartfelt gratitude about the backpack giveaway. I'd like to thank Chief Hicks and King County Fire District 20, Seattle King County Health Department, and King County Sheriff's Deputy Scott Duncan for making the giveaway the success that that it was. I want to announce that we are actively planning for our annual Thanksgiving dinner to take place on Thanksgiving Day, November the 25th. It is tentatively slated to be at Tally High School within the Renton School District. We are recruiting for volunteers as well. And we are making sure that we follow the protocol for our volunteers, effective October 25th. Proof of vaccination or negative COVID results 72 hours prior to the planned event have to be, that's part of the protocol. And that's not just us, that was also passed down to us. That information was given to us from Renton School District. So, we're all in with, with following the protocol. We have a plan to try to serve 300 meals this year. Last year, we gave out 200 plates, and we were done like within 45 minutes. We had to turn people away. So we are trying to increase those numbers. 300 is still not a lot, but we're still trying to, again, just be mindful of the era that we're in right now with COVID. And so we plan to make it a repeat process of as it was last year. It was drive-through and contactless. And so we had the people to line up. They told us how many plates they needed to go to their homes. And we gave them that many, plates with desserts and bottled water. And, and so we just proceeded that way until the food was gone. And so that is that's the plan again for this year. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Any questions? Comments, concerns, laments? Thank you.
No, thank you, Ayanna. I appreciate all the information. Next on my list, I have Margie for the VFW.
Hi. Okay. I just have 3 little things I want to bring up. One, for our community members, I want our law enforcement, firefighters, first responders, medical, this is, I'm reading from this, our first responders, medical, EMTs, teachers, coaches that are no longer allowed to do their job because they didn't or couldn't get their COVID vaccines, to contact our VFW. We do support all of our first responders and educators, and we are here for you. And that is for our Skyway community here. Before we had started, I also had mentioned, and as we did last year, we're doing a trunk or treat on October 30th, that's Saturday, from 2 to 6 p.m. It is open to the entire community. If anyone would like to reserve a spot in the parking lot there, where the Skyway VFW is, just contact us through the VFW Facebook page. And it's just Skyway Post VFW. And then the last little piece was, just wanted to invite everyone, let you know when we are going to be open. We are open on right now, in part because of COVID and things. We are only open Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays from 4 to 8 p.m. Thursdays, we do have hamburgers with homemade potato salad, and there's usually some type of a cookie or a little dessert. Friday nights is Wii Bowling, has been Wii Bowling, depends on how many people show up to Wii. And Saturdays is just kind of an open, happy hour. I don't want to say necessarily happy hour, but we're just open for socializing. And then on Sundays, we are open an hour before the Seahawks games play. And they usually have something, you know, that they offer up for an inexpensive amount. They will be doing food baskets again this year. And we do that. And I talked with, I mentioned that when I talked with the school liaison, and that's about it for right now. Check out the Skyway VFW page. We are here as part of the community. Everybody is welcome to come, and, you know, we'd love to see the fire department, the policemen, you know, anybody who wants to come and set up a car or back of a truck and decorate it for trunk or treat. It was a great success last year. I believe we are going to be doing some hot dogs, and I'm not sure if it's just going to be like hot chocolate or hot cider. That I'm not sure about. I haven't heard that yet. But that's it. So thank you.
Thank you, Margie.
Thank you.
Appreciate all of the information. Next on my list is the Skyway Coalition, and unfortunately, Rebecca is not able to be here with us tonight. It was her daughter's birthday, but she did just want to say that that as far as the coalition goes, that they're working on redistricting, and that membership for the coalition is going to open up sometime next week. And they're we are also working with Department of Local Services on the sub-area plan, and along with Urban Family. So she said there's a newsletter that will go out shortly, and all of the information about those things will be in the newsletter. And so feel free to look for that newsletter. And if you don't get it, then you can contact Rebecca Berry at the coalition. The next thing that I have on my list is Child Haven. John Gould, he could not be here tonight either. And he had an update, and he just wanted me to let everyone know that Child Haven got the King County CDBG grant request for capital dollars for the Cynthia A. Green Family Center has been approved. They will start working on improvements in 2022, and they will be letting everyone know what the timing of that will be. Some of the projects that they're going to be working on are some safety upgrades of exterior lighting, emergency exit lighting, concrete steps, some upgrades of the parking lot, and repaving and striping. And then some exterior things of new signage, fencing, landscaping, garden and outdoor, and then some painting that they're going to be doing for Child Haven. So all of that is really good things, because they got their grant. So that was some good news also. So are there any other community reports that anybody had to give that that we missed tonight?
Hi, Jeannie. I'd just like to add a couple things. Manny Apostle here, King County Sheriff's Office. I'm your community engagement specialist. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
So anyway, I'm always looking for ways to serve the community here. I grew up in Bryn Mawr, and this community has a special place in my heart, and Jeannie, you know that. So please reach out. I'm going to leave my email address in the chat. I would love to receive suggestions and ideas to work with our community. As Deputy Stork Sales had mentioned, we do have a community-driven coat drive that's in progress, and I will keep you abreast of that situation. Currently, right now, I'm working with the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office on their newly formed hate crimes outreach team. So if anyone is interested in a presentation, whether in person or online, again, I'll put my email in the chat box. Prior to this meeting, I had a nice conversation with Devin about any type of further community engagement projects. And I'm really excited to see what we can do as a community and, see what we can achieve. So again, I will put my email address in here. Please feel free to email me. So.
Thank you, Manny. And I think you have all your information in there for anybody to get in touch with you for all of the programs that you and Josh talked about. So if there's no more community reports, then Miss Ayana.
I'm sorry, I just realized that I made a typo. I put my contact information. My baby's gonna kill me. I misspelled his name.
Please don't do that.
So it's my first name, my last name at ALAJAWANS, hands, Olajuwon's hands. So I'll retype that. But I just wanted to verbally say that in case we miss it in the chat. So I'm retyping it again. My apologies.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that correction. So lastly, our main presentation for tonight, I know that everyone has heard that West Hill Community Association has taken on the responsibility of being the CDA for Skyway West Hill. And we've gotten a lot of questions about just what does that mean? So we put together a presentation to kind of walk you through a little bit of some of the questions that we've been getting. Let's see. Can everyone see my screen? Okay. So what exactly is a community development association? A community development association is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that are created to help support and revitalize communities. They work along with their grassroots organization partners, and typically they deal with affordable housing and community development stewardship. They can also be involved in a wide range of community services that meet local needs of the community, such as education, social services, job training, healthcare, commercial development, and just a plethora of other social programs on behalf of the community. And so why is it important for Skyway West Hill to have a CDA? So in 2019, the community worked to form the Skyway Coalition that we have today. And the coalition, along with the community, then advocated for funding to initiate the process to secure a community center, resource center, an outdoor preschool, along with some affordable housing, and looking for ways to begin to build our economic development here on the Hill. In 2020, Skyway West Hill community was actually awarded seed funding for some of these initiatives. And the coalition recognized the importance of the need to have a conduit to steward and eventually own these projects, as well as the future community ventures on behalf of the community. Some of the community development functions that a CDA usually takes on is they do community building, they do planning and advocacy, they help sustain the neighborhood by partnering with the residents, local stakeholders, and local government, partnering and making key community planning decisions, and they stay by staying engaged to help carry out and advocate any plans that the community is trying to undertake. Another way that they, Community Development Association works is they have economic development. They help develop housing, physical amenities, and necessities to the neighborhood. By using an equitable development approach that reflects neighborhood priorities. They often focus on things like housing development or housing repair or rehab, business district or commercial corridor development, business and or entrepreneur development, vacant land reclaiming, open space development, stopping environmental damage and cleanup, recreational space development, and a bunch of other physical revitalization things for the community. They also support nurturing strong, self-sufficient, successful residents and local entrepreneurs by helping to develop the capabilities and individual residents and entrepreneurs, especially for young people, and to help them realize their full potential. They also convening and facilitating, creating a strong voice for the neighborhood. A CDA, by working with all the grassroots organization partners like Skyway Coalition and others, a CDA can help bring organizations and stakeholders together for planning. We can participate in joint problem solving, and we also participate in community education, advocacy, and physical development. And last but not least, resident engagement and empowerment, building residents' power for decision-making. The priorities, plans, and activities in the neighborhood should reflect the priorities of the neighborhood residents and other local stakeholders. We would ensure that residents are engaged in the work of the organization serving that community or that neighborhood, ensuring that residents have a decision-making role in the neighborhood, helping to define and name the neighborhood, and being part of just building pride in the neighborhood. All of these things are things that a CDA can be involved with and help and work through with the neighborhood help and partnering with the neighborhood. So West Hill Community Association, with the input and support from the Skyway Coalition and other community partners, this past July 2021, West Hill elected to take on a more community responsibility and become the CDA presence for Skyway West Hill. West Hill Community Association wants to help steward the community projects on behalf of the community and support the community's goal for a community-owned land and assets. Our mission is to create a more equitable, informed, engaged, and vibrant Skyway West Hill. And since our founding, we've been an all-volunteer powered organization. One thing that we want to do is we want to, well, we've been an all volunteer power community organization, but now that we have become a CDA, that we will need to pivot and build capacity and funding to support the community and these projects that are going on here in Skyway. One way that we will build capacity for us to grow the CDA is by hiring some professional full-time staff members who can partner with us and the board of directors and other community partners to steward the key community projects in Skyway West Hill. And then we are also seeking funding from a variety of sources. Some of those sources will be private foundations and corporations. We will also be looking at public funding, like from King County or state funds. And then we will also be looking for funding through individual donors to help us get closer to realizing this vision. You can always visit mywesthill.org to make a one-time donation to West Hill Community Association. And we also have monthly supporters that also support us. And then last but not least, we will eventually, once we get our feet under us, we will be help raise funds for operational and capital costs for the projects that are going on in Skyway, and then also the future projects that are going on. So ultimately, we will partner with all the various nonprofit, public and private partners involved with Skyway West Hill community development projects to work toward building operational ownership and stewardship on behalf of the community. So as you can see, CDA has, has a lot of interaction with not only the community, but then also with the other organizations here on the Hill, with local government agencies. And we will work as your conduit to be all of those things. So I know that, I hope that answered a lot of your questions, but does anyone else have questions just in general about the CDA? Wow, that's awesome. So I think, I hope that that's exciting news to everybody, because we're taking on a big venture here and really coming together to try to grow this neighborhood and grow it in the way that the residents want it to grow. And we are definitely your advocate to do all of those things. So
thank you. That was a great presentation, Jeannie.
Yes,
that was a fantastic presentation. There was a lot of confusion of what a CDA actually is, and I think that really cleared it up a lot. So
awesome.
really appreciate the time and effort you put into putting that together.
Thank you, Daniel. Yeah, my hope was, because I know we've gotten a lot of questions just about, okay, there's all this talk about having a CDA, but what exactly does that mean? And why do we need that, right? So, John, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah, no question. I just applaud you for doing it, and I think it's a great step forward. And David Daw was right there at the beginning of the White Center CDA. If there's anything we can do, I know I'm always offering David's help because he's smarter than I am, but anything we can do to be of assistance in this, just let us know. We want to see this get up off the ground and succeed.
Thank you so much. So we actually have, we've wrangled him and convinced him to meet with us every couple of weeks to just answer our questions and kind of help us walk through. So we are very appreciative of that.
Yeah, and also, I mean, if you're going to go for grant funding or philanthropic funding and you need letters from us, or if we can engage the executive's office, I'm 1000% confident that the county executive would be 100% happy to help out any way he can. I'm sure that's true for Councilmember Zahalai. So just whatever we can do, think of us as a resource, and we'll try to escalate. You all have a great relationship with Councilmember Zahalai. You don't need my help or David's help, but if the county executive can be helpful with fundraising stuff, let us know. We just want to pull out the stops and make this
Thank you.
succeed.
So appreciative. Thank you so much. Well, if no one has any more questions, I just thank you for your support of West Hill Community Association. And know that we are here, your partners of the community. And it looks like, I can't believe it, but we ended this meeting with all of the wonderful information that happened tonight. We ended this meeting at 8:59. So I just want you to know, man, we rocked it. But thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate all your time tonight. I appreciate all your patience and just all your input and everybody's community partnership over the last, couple of years here. Skyway is doing big things right now and just really proud of all of us. So thank you so much, and everyone have a wonderful night.
Don't forget to join us for our Halloween takeover. We're handing out candy and fun stuff in front of the US Bank. Now to be the Envision Center, Skyway Resource Center on October 28th. Go to mywesthill.org. It is on the homepage. Share it with all your friends. Come in costume. We've got a movie streaming on the weekend of Halloween. And we've got a costume or a contest going on right now. If you've decorated or dressed up, join. You could win local gift cards and everything in big flashy trophies. Do it. Go to mywesthill.org.
You had me at candy.
I'll see you there. Thanks,
Great
Jeannie.
job facilitating. Great job, Jeannie. You were the bomb.
I kind of jumped in at the last minute. I think Devin and Finn kind of.
They did. No, yeah, they did. They did.
Yes, thank you, everybody. That's awesome teamwork. Awesome teamwork.
Come meet Buff.